including yourself, thought it'd be like that.
No way, Jim. I think our kids deserve the credit. They played extremely hard, and I was very pleased with the game plan that we had, particularly defensively, and what Coach Carr and his staff did.
Against the run and shoot to basically shut it out, turn it away, that was an incredible performance.
Yes, because they got the opportunity to score at any time. You never know when they're going to hit you, and you're exactly right. And, of course, that's the way you'd like to have all of them turn out, really.
The other thing you said that was really impressive, and from a coach's perspective, this is kind of a surprise, the crowd really got into the game, were as loud as you can remember, which is not the reputation for Michigan Stadium.
20-some years, Jim, and I'll tell you, don't think that the fans don't make a big impression on the minds of those kids, and they love to hear that crowd, regardless of the score. And sometime we're going to need that crowd when we're not doing so well, okay? But they did an excellent job. And I think when you start off with a play like this, you can return a kickoff, it helps. But our fans, I want to compliment them because that is a big help.
This certainly helped the fans get ready. Tyrone Wheatley going 99 yards, tying a Michigan record on the opening kick of the game.
Right, what can I say? That's why I planned it. That's why I received the ball, Jim.
That was the other thing. You received the ball. Normally you would have deferred, but you wanted to keep their offense off the field.
Well, what I wanted to do is make sure we got the ball. Here's Shante Peoples on a sack. But, Jim, what I wanted to do is get the ball when it was dry because I thought it was going to rain the second half. We kept checking with the weather people, and that's why we took the ball to try to give it to them in the rain. Here's Wheatley getting loose again down the sideline on a good draw play, which obviously puts us in good field position.
And Todd Collins had another wonderful day.
Right, he had a great day, and here he is throwing an interception really to a guy he shouldn't have thrown the ball to. And sometimes things happen so fast, but I was hopeful that we wouldn't have any turnovers, and that was the only one of the day. But here's the kind of plays. Here's Alfie Birch pursuing the ball. When you put 6 defensive backs in, Jim, you have a lot of speed on the field.
You have a lot of speed, and you cannot allow the run-and-shoot receiver to make yardage after the catch.
No.
And your kids didn't allow that.
That's exactly right, and it's what we call hidden yardage. Then Collins throwing the ball well, and here he hits Derrick, and then he comes right back to Tony McGee. We didn't want it to develop in that manner, but Todd threw a great ball because if it wasn't going to be complete, it was out of the end zone. Tony went up and made a great catch.
And again, you go to work, they gave you a lot of cushion to the sideline, and Derrick just made some great plays. One-on-one coverage, it's tough to cover those, your two wides.
Right,
like
particularly when you got a guy in there that can get the ball to him, and Todd did a great job. And here's the other side, he's going to Mercury Hayes. This had to be a great moment for Mercury, being from Houston, and catching the ball, breaking the tackle, and going in for the score.
At that point, it's 21-0. You got to be saying, okay, hey, we're doing all right. And the defense particularly playing well.
Right. Hang on to the football. Then here they have a fumble, and Shante recovers the fumble. I think he had a couple sacks on the day and a fumble recovery, and he had a good day. Here's Todd again. We had to go back to throw. This time, Tony McGee's wide open, and he hits him. And after a quick score, that really...
Now, you stand on a sideline 28-0. What are you thinking? You're saying, man, this is too easy, or this shouldn't be like this?
Exactly. But the only thing you worry about, Jim, here they make one of their biggest plays after a big fake. They faked a couple of guys. Corwin Brown, notice there, just contains a guy, keeps him inside to give our defense a chance. But, yeah, the thing you know about this defense is they can score in a hurry. Here's great pressure.
And here's a sequence of defense on 3 possessions from Houston that your guys just don't allow them to do anything.
Right. There's good pressure, and we get the ball thrown up in the air, and then Shante comes up and grabs the ball here, which is a big play. But our defense was after the quarter. We got more pressure, Jim. If there's one thing I was surprised with in the game was the pressure that our up-front people put on the quarterback.
And you had to have it from your up-front people, even though you did blitz some, and that was key.
Right. Then we got down in there, and we wanted to run the ball a little bit, so we tried Derrick on a reverse. I mean, he just makes a great individual effort here, Derrick Alexander. Jim, I think you can see Derrick displaying some confidence now and trying to take control of things, which he did very well.
Well, that was as good a run as they get right there. He was probably trying to show off for Desmond Howard, huh?
Right, yeah, that's right. Then Steve Morris, they come back and they throw again, and then Steve Morrison makes a fine interception stepping in front of a pass. Then we come back and score again with Wheatley bouncing to the outside. And Tyrone, I think, had a great game coming off of an injury there. He faked inside, then ran to the outside, and obviously 42-0 at halftime is a pretty good score.
42-0 at halftime, pretty good score. You'll take it most of the year.
Yes, any game.
Talk to me, though. You're leaving the field at halftime. You're up 42-0 against a club that offensively can put some points on the board. Are you feeling confident, or are you still saying, wonder if my defense can do this for 30 more minutes?
Well, I didn't think they could score 43 points on us. And I told the kids at halftime, my role is to tell you that the score is 0-0 and we're supposed to go out and play. And I said, honestly, I can't do that. You want to be talked to like a man? Here's reality, and this is what the situation is. Now, do we have the pride to go back out there and everybody that's going to get in the play of this game play like a Michigan football player? And we were not going to let up. With the idea we had somebody in the corner, we were ready to knock them out. Now we had to deliver that blow.
Well, the knockout punch certainly came in the second half. We'll be back to take a look at the knockout punch, but first we hear from the guy that got it all started on that opening kickoff.
Coach Mo said this is a class act team, and this is a very class act team. We didn't talk, we just showed by emotions on the field, plus by the play on the field. And I guess the kickoff return by 99 yards really showed it off right
to them that we got speed in Michigan.
Buster Stanley, one of the key guys on defense. And one of the things I thought interesting in the ball game, Mo, was they had two quarterbacks, Klingler and Douglas. Douglas, a great running quarterback, Klingler the better thrower, and they switched him back and forth almost series for series. That had to be different for your defense also.
Right, we always had to know who was in the game. We talked about that before the game, obviously, Jim, but you're right. The one guy is a scrambling type guy. The other guy is probably a little bit more of a passer. But our approach would be the same, other than sometimes I'm sure Coach Carr blitzed him a little differently.
And blitzing him, how did you blitz him and know when to blitz off the corners?
Well,
like
here's
here?
an example. And Chante, I believe it is, here comes up with a sack, and they also had a holding call at that particular time. But we had to mix that in, and I think the early pressure really set up a lot of things. Here's Jesse on a good run, trying to hang on to that football strong, which he did, and he's going to be all right.
You sat him down for the first half, came in, started playing in the second half.
Right.
And he started to really hold on to the ball.
Yeah, Todd was going to go down the middle. He throws to Jesse in the flat, and Jesse dives in the end zone for another touchdown. So he came on well.
You had to be pleased with the way the kids responded to your halftime talk.
Oh, I think so. I think they come out. Here's a good play on a 3rd and 8. They ran an automatic dump pass to a guy, and Corwin Brown come up and made a good tackle. And a 3rd and 8, and that's the kind of things that we wanted to do. Then Jay Reamersma comes in here. Now he's our 3rd quarterback, hitting Monty Toomer, who's a freshman receiver, makes a good juggling catch. Got good hands. Our young kids have good hands. Then on 3rd and 4, we come back. We hit Jesse on the screen pass out in the flat, and he gets good blocking here and gets down the sideline for a good pickup.
Screen passes and draws seem to work well second half against these guys.
It's the kind of defense they play. Sometimes those work. Here's a crucial down here. Jesse leveling off on 2nd effort on a 4th and 1. That was a big play there to keep this drive alive. Then we give it to Jesse again. He goes for a good gain here.
He ran really hard, and with Wheatley healthy and Powers running well, and later we'll see Ed Davis. Boy, you got some running backs.
Well, yeah, and they're hitting that hole quicker. There's a great catch by Monty Tooman. I also say Jay Reamersma there has a nice throw and a man-to-man coverage, which we got a lot.
Jason Carr into the ballgame. Was Lloyd a little excited about this one?
Well, I'm sure he was, and Jason did a good job here. He hits Mercury Hayes, and Mercury is hit just as he caught the ball in a bobble, then he came down with it. And Jason did a good job conducting a touchdown drive here. Here's Eddie Davis breaking the outside on a draw play, trying to cut back and shake a tackle. He does a good job with ball security, as you see there, Jim.
Ball security, that means don't fumble it. And then the draw play that goes the distance on 4th and 3.
4th and 3, pops out. And we were just trying to run the ball, really, to try to run out the clock and things, and they went down and scored. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, 61-7 the final. The draw play on 4th down, it goes the distance. Now, somebody out there somewhere, probably in Texas, might say something about, did he run up the score? And my comment was, you had like the 4th string guys in all over the place, so, and your only responsibility is to substitute.
Right, and it's the responsibilities of my team. Number 1, we have to figure out a way to win. Number 2, when we feel that is secure, and Jim, you're never secure against the run and shoot until later on, that we would have substituted after our first drive offensively second half had we have scored, but we didn't, so we wanted to go again. But for a quarter and a half, we played our 3rd and 4th teamers, and most of them responded well. And really, Jim, you worry, I'd like to shut that team out just for the mental part of the game for our defense. But the next responsibility, other than winning to the team, is to let everybody who can potentially play, and the only guys that didn't are the redshirt freshmen. The guys were trying your redshirt.
And you got almost everybody into the ballgame. Some guys that'll never see a game again, so it'd be a big thrill for them.
Right, and Jim, you know that's what it's about. When I get a chance to play a walk-on football player and he gets out there in front of that crowd, I mean, that's his day. And any time as a coach, you can do that and still secure the win. I'm going to do it.
You look at this game offensively, very, very productive. Todd Collins ties the record, 4 touchdown passes. Defensively, great performance. There's one area you got to work on. You got to get that kicking game solved.
Right. Very happy with our defense, and we got to punt the football better. I think our field goals will be all right, although we slipped on a couple and kicked those low today. But in a crucial game, in the big games, in the Big Ten Conference, we got to make sure that we polish that up.
Better get polished up in a hurry because the Big Ten is upon us. Don't go away. When we come back, we'll have a talk about what's happening in the Big Ten as we head down toward the conference title.
They're going to score 50, 60 points.
Our ultimate goal there, go to the Rose Bowl, and that's not going to be easy.
Yeah, but no matter what the Big Ten did in the non-conference, it seems like when you play a Big Ten school, forget it, anything can happen. Look what happened, you know, Miami almost loses their #1 rating to Arizona.
Right, 8-7
weekend.
game there, and yesterday that happened, so you never know. And then Iowa, remember, Iowa and Michigan State were the last 2 conference games that we have lost, and the last 2 conference schools to win in our stadium, and we have to remember that, and we have to go to work hard.
Let's take a look at the Big Ten standings through the non-conference schedule. Ohio State with 3 straight wins, including a big win over Syracuse. They are for real. Michigan 2-0-1, Illinois 2-1, the loss to Houston, Indiana 2-1, Wisconsin 2-1, and Wisconsin gave Washington a battle. So Wisconsin's not a bad club.
They're not a bad team, and Ohio State plays them this week. And then there's the second half of the team, which Iowa's a better than 1-3 team. I think the Meadowlands game kind of took its toll there, so they'll be a good football team.
And Purdue's one win was over California, which was big. Michigan State, Minnesota, and Northwestern having their difficulties, but Iowa's 3 losses have come to Colorado, Miami, and North Carolina State. 3 pretty good ball clubs.
Real good football teams, and they're going to come in here, and they always do a good job with a game plan, and we're going to be on our toes. Now we just can't let down and think we're something that we're not. We got to keep our focus.
Okay, keeping your focus, heading to the Big Ten schedule. Let's look at the Big Ten schedule that you have this year. You are at home 2 weeks in a row, Iowa, Michigan State. Then you've got Minnesota and Illinois at home, and then on the road at Indiana, Purdue, Northwestern, and Ohio State. The 2 rough road games, it looks like to me, are Indiana and Ohio State.
I think you're exactly right there. And the other thing you got to look at, Jim, sometimes like an Iowa and Michigan State, you know they're always going to play. Michigan State's always going to play hard. And the last time they come in here, because they get together, and we got to make sure that we get on them quickly.
And the important thing, too, is that that's a back-to-back situation. Iowa, Michigan State back-to-back is not easy, no matter what, because Iowa's physical, Michigan State's physical. It's
right. Then you turn right around and have to go down to Bloomington, as you indicated. But we owe Iowa and Michigan State something because of what's happened 2 years ago. I'll never forget those 2 games. And yet we know they're 2 good football teams.
Take a look at the Big Ten schedule now and who's off the schedule. Sometimes it becomes a break for somebody. Michigan does not play Wisconsin. Ohio State does not play Purdue. Michigan State does not play Iowa. Illinois does not play Indiana. And Northwestern does not play Minnesota. As you look at those teams that don't play, do you see an advantage or disadvantage? Some years you didn't play Northwestern, which was a disadvantage for you.
Right. In some ways, you'd have to look at, first of all, the Michigan State, Iowa teams don't play. And then you look at other people, Indiana and Illinois now. The worst thing that's going to happen in all this, Jim, next year when we talk about this, there's going to be 2 teams that people don't play. And that, in my opinion, is very sad.
And that's not the way they wanted to do it. You would have rather had a 9-team conference than an 11-team conference. But Penn State's in next year, and that's the way it's going to be. But Iowa is on Michigan's mind. Don't go away. We'll be back and scout the Hawkeyes when Michigan.
Poll just out, while all is status quo for Alabama's Gene Stallings, who joins us live next.
Which obviously puts us in good field position.
And Todd Collins had another wonderful day.
Right, he had a great day, and here he is throwing an interception really to a guy he shouldn't have thrown the ball to. And sometimes things happen so fast, but I was hopeful that we wouldn't have any turnovers, and that was the only one of the day. But here's the kind of plays. Here's Alfie Burge pursuing the ball. When you put 6 defensive backs in, Jim, you have a lot of stuff. That's the way you'd like to have all of them turn out, really.
The other thing you said that was really impressive, and from a coach's perspective, this kind of a surprise, the crowd really got into the game, were as loud as you can remember, which is not the reputation for Michigan Stadium.
20-some years, Jim, and I'll tell you, don't think that the fans don't make a big impression on the minds of those kids, and they love to hear that crowd, regardless of the score. And sometime we're going to need that.
That was the other thing. You received the ball. Normally you would have deferred, but you wanted to keep their offense off the field.
Well, what I wanted to do is make sure we got the ball. Here's Shante Peoples on a sack. But, Jim, what I wanted to do is get the ball when it was dry because I thought it was going to rain the second half. We kept checking with the weather people, and that's why we took the ball to try to give it to them in the rain. Here's Wheatley getting loose again down the sideline on a good draw play.
Including yourself, thought it'd be like that.
No way, Jim. I think our kids deserve the credit. They played extremely hard, and I was very pleased with the game plan that we had, particularly defensively, and what Coach Carr and his staff did.
Against the run and shoot to basically shut it out, turn it away, that was an incredible performance.
Yes, because they got the opportunity to score at any time. You never know when they're going to hit you, and you're exactly right. And, of course, that crowd when we're not doing so well, okay? But they did an excellent job. And I think when you start off with a play like this, you can return a kickoff, it helps. But our fans, I want to compliment them because that is a big help.
This certainly helped the fans get ready. Tyrone Wheatley going 99 yards, tying a Michigan record on the opening kick of the game.
Right, what can I say? That's the way I planned it. That's why I received the ball, Jim.